When we dream, we are, in a sense, drawing and animating with incredible skill, and we didn't learn how to do it, but our system kicks all this stuff up and makes everything foreshorten correctly, where we get vivid memories of it. What you're doing here is a few years, maybe a decade, of working on getting the dreaming mind out into the waking world, seeing the images, knowing the forms, knowing the anatomy, what it all looks like, but it's a slow motion process.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to pop in and tell you what this video is all about. I had Marshall Vandruff and Rembert Montauld sit down and talk about one of the drawings that Rembert did recently at WonderCon. Spent all day, every day, sitting down doing these large-scale 18 by 24 drawings, all in brush pen without any preparation or any idea what he was going to draw beforehand. And in this video, both Marshall and Rembert are analyzing the drawing itself and trying to get to the bottom of what exactly he was thinking as he was doing each of these drawings. By the way, this is part of Rembert's perspective course on Proga.com. In this course, he goes through his methods and his ideas for using perspective as a tool for the sort of art that he does as it relates to these sorts of drawings that you're going to see in this video, and things like illustration, character design, and storyboarding. So if you'd be interested in checking that out, go to proga.com/practical to learn more, and I hope to see you guys there. Thank you, and on to the video.
Gave you a large piece of paper, and rather than knowing what you were going to draw, that's a shoulder?
No, it's a pants. I have to talk to a lot of people. The thing is, when I draw these things, I try to get one thing right and I can start relating things to it. So if I draw that shoe right or feel like it's correct, then at least I know when I draw other things next to it that I can relate them to one another.
Do you usually work from small to big? Sometimes it seems you've worked from large to small, where you get the whole composition.
I always start in a little spot. Like, I knew that I was going to put her on a horse before I even start drawing anything.
Okay.
So and now I'm getting lost in the folds. And someone that I really always admired for their folds was Albert Dorn. Like, here I start to draw the saddle. And I knew the horizon line was already going to be like here, because everything here we're looking above and everything there we're starting to look below. But I wanted to get the all the shapes sort of there so that I can, and it's like a little cast shadow that like roots it to the ground. And then I was thinking maybe I could put a whole slew of little lions around her. Like she's like hoarding baby lions or
This
something.
occurred to you while you were drawing?
Yes, I did not think about that beforehand. That's why this approach to drawing is, when I see people like Peter Han or Kim Young-ji do this, I don't think they have the final image in their head. Sort of an idea, but it's like jazz. Like, if you draw a line, you may not draw exactly what you thought it was in your head, but you react to it. It's like you draw a line and then you just take a step back and it's like, what does this drawing want, opposed to what do I want it to be like? Because drawing like this, it's impressive, but it's not that useful for commercial work, because in commercial work there are guidelines, and this is just I do whatever I want, if that makes sense.
You can't predict this.
You can't predict this.
That's part of the excitement of it. Or that it seems like that's much of the excitement of it.
Yeah, like here you see the baby cats, and I draw a smiley on her shirt, or it's a skull. I don't know, something like a pattern on her shirt.
How far ahead do you think?
Not that much. It's literally like walking in the dark. You know where the end is, but you don't know how to get there. You know where your house is, but you're driving in the dark a little bit.
Now, when you say you know where the end is, you don't have the finished image in your mind, or do you?
Sort of. I know that it's going to be like a fisheye on the ground, but I'll add that here comes the horse butt with the tail, and that's the saddle again. I rode horses as a kid, so I observed them plenty, and I cleaned the stable, so I know what a horse looks like. And here I gave the horse some sneakers. It's just like, that's the thing. I didn't think I was going to give that horse sneakers.
But why not?
Why not? It's absurd. Like, there's no art director peeking over me, so
No client's gonna say no sneakers on the horse.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this. Here's the other limb, a back leg of the horse. And here there is the chains that keep the saddle strapped to the... It doesn't really look like that, but I'm just making stuff up at this point.
But you know saddles.
A little bit, yeah. Here's someone talking to me again. Like usually I draw at conventions so people don't talk to me, but I'm just so I can just keep drawing.
How much do they ask about while you're working about what you're doing?
They just ask me, did you do an underdrawing for that? And I say no, and that's sort of it. But it's like,
Why do you think they ask that?
because I think people assume that every ink drawing needs to have an underdrawing.
Yeah. Have you seen Winsor McKay draw?
Yeah, it's the animator, right, with Gertie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
He didn't need to do underdrawings. Well, he did underdrawings, for his comics, the loosest. You see them in some unfinished bit, but yeah, he could see it while he put it down and didn't need it.
You're going to see in the next drawing that I do, the one after this, that I do underdrawings, gesture drawings. It's a sort of a mannequin. I wish less people talk to me for the sake of this video.
You could get cranky with them.
Yeah, leave me alone. I'm drawing.
Or you could have a bodyguard. If you want me to be there and play the bad cop.
Yeah, he's drawing.
Yeah, I could come there in my
You see like a little
military outfit.
Here's a tiger. I have 1, 2. I think I'm going to add a couple more.
And are these tigers that are up there on the neck of the horse?
Yeah. So here you see me, the hoof within the sneaker.
Yeah.
Now showing my
Not a very
sketchbook.
good fit, but it's hard putting a sneaker
On a horse.
to make it fit.
So you see that on the outside, the line weight is much thicker. I got that from Muka. Like I always loved how the lines were so much thicker on the outside. See, I'm adding more folds to that pants. It's apparently important to me that those pants are. But the thing is, usually if you have a drawing with, there's not that much detail here, but if you have an area of detail, it creates detail in the other areas that.
Because your mind fills it in?
Yes, sort of. You know what I'm talking about. And here I use some of my spit, like it's just sort of a sepia, but you can see that I'm adding a core shadow now by just rubbing with my finger, and it gives like a nice touch to it.
So whoever owns this drawing will have samples of your DNA.
Unfortunately, yeah. Most of my drawings have it. That's why my colleague at work, when she sees a drawing at me, she's like, I'm not going to touch this because I know there's so much spit on it.
Yeah, but actually it makes it maybe more valuable. It's like I'm told that Elvis's used Band-Aids went for a fortune.
Jesus. Really?
No.
Oh, here's a little cat line there. Actually, we researched why saliva actually works better on inks than just water, because saliva has enzyme in it and it breaks down the complicated ink pigment and smudges it, while water just makes it a liquid.
There you go.
I really researched is why does saliva work better than water to spread ink?
It's alive.
It's enzyme and
essence of Rembert.
Usually the start of an image takes me much longer than the end. Like the first drawing I do, for some reason, I'm a little bit more detailed with it and I'm a little bit more careful with it because it's the first one. And when I go later on towards the end, I get less careful with everything. If the first one doesn't feel right, then I don't feel good adding other stuff to it. And here I'm talking again. Christian, it was your job to, I'm just kidding, to take them away from me.
Christian, we're going to have to replace you with someone who's a little harder on the strangers.
I'm just joking.
No, I think he means it. Well, it works to your advantage. I went for 3 years of my life where I bowed out of social involvement, particularly at family gatherings, because I kept a sketchbook.
Yeah.
And I kept my head in that, and it was a life-changing event to not be involved in conversations, but to listen to them. But you are doing both here because you're the star in front of the camera here. So you've got people that are asking you technical questions. Do any of them ask you personal questions while you're...
Personal questions?
Yeah. Or is that...
I hope not.
Yeah, that's taboo. How much, again, I'm asking you something I already asked you. How far ahead are you thinking with, say, the position of her head and where that horse's head is going to be? Is it stuff you anticipate?
Yeah, it's sort of, I know where this is going, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to get her. See, I'm just thickening lines right now, so to really differentiate See, I'm adding more laces, I'm detailing those shoes.
Now, why add the detail in those shoes when you've got so much more to go with big choices?
It could be some sort of procrastination. Like, I don't want to draw her head just yet, so let me draw these shoes for now. It's a safer option. Here, the horse leg, it's bending. And since he has shoes, I have to put a shoe on that one as well. So here I'm going to add a shoe to it.
So you're getting your bearings while you're putting that in there so that you can stall just enough to let the image come to you.
Yes. And I react to it. Like here someone was talking to me, but here I go again with that shoe. You have the bottom plane, but I already see the ground plane. That's something I haven't said. I see where it is going, but I don't want to draw that as yet. You want to draw things that are in front of other things first.
Yeah. So that you don't have to erase or in this case, you don't have to darken a line necessarily to make it go in front of the thing you've already drawn. You can put the stuff behind it.
Yeah. And now I'm drawing the other shoe.
Hey, I want to tell you something about procrastination that's made it into the mainstream news for the last few months a couple times. Recent research on procrastination is that it's seldom laziness. It is dealing with overwhelm, and it is a coping mechanism. And the first thing that they give you with it, advice for it, is embrace it and recognize I'm not lazy. I've just got to get prepared for this big thing ahead. And that's what you're doing here.
Well, now I started on the head.
Now
here.
you're on it, okay.
It's like I got to do it at some point. So I'm choosing a hairstyle. An earring. And here I go back to the shoe. I'm not ready for the face. I'm noodling around. Oh, here we go. Okay. I know I wasn't too happy with that face, but I think I rubbed ink in front of her face, and then I wasn't too happy with it anymore. See, I'm gonna do something that I will bitterly regret. I'm gonna smudge her face for some reason because I wanted like a shadow in front, but I will do it at some point. Here I go in the shoes again. They seem so important to me.
But you're anchoring them too, right? And I can tell that those shoes are on an X line that is going higher than the horse's iliac crests, which are closer to the horizon line.
And here I gave her a scarf in the wind. Like I introduced an element to add more movement to it.
How consciously do you think of elements like that?
It adds a lot to a drawing. Like if there's wind in a drawing, then suddenly it makes it more dynamic, and you don't have to do a lot, like a scarf going in the wind or something. And here I added another cat.
There's a phrase that I like about procrastination.
Yeah.
It's there's like a whole meme video about the thing. And the guy's saying, I don't procrastinate. I simply wait until panic improves my focus.
That's very good.
That's beautiful. Here's the final cat peeking out there. So she has 4 little lions on her horse. And I'm darkening occlusions here and there.
Darkening of occlusions.
Yeah, occlusions are very important to me. They give the illusion of so much depth in forms. So now I'm starting to draw the horse head. And it's turning towards us. My animals are not realistic per se, but I give them some sort of human expression always. Again, like I said, there is no commission. Nobody asks there is no expectation. Here is the other leg and the final shoe. And I pointed it a little bit more in the other direction so it feels like it's turning, that it could be on a fisheye perspective.
How much does your experience of riding affect this?
I know the equipment a little bit.
How about the positions of the limbs?
It's like not when I was riding it, but I watched my sister and my mother ride a lot, and I was in the cafeteria watching them as a child. I wasn't drawing them, but there was nothing to do, and I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a Game Boy, so all I could do was just watch them ride the horse for hours. And I think it's just so instilled in my brain. But I love horses. They're very elegant. For some reason, when I started drawing horses, it came a little bit more easy to me because Because I wasn't necessarily thinking about anatomy. I was thinking about, does this look right to me? You're going to see that after this figure, everything is going to go much quicker. Like there's probably so much that I could explain that I'm not even thinking about what I'm doing. Because most of it is just intuitive, and it's about not being afraid to take risks while you're drawing. And here I go again, thickening the lines on the outside. And that's the final sneaker right there.
So the procrastination and the going back to the same part is related to taking risks. It's that moment of, I'm going to take a leap into something that's, once you place that horse's head, it's
no way back.
Yeah.
Or you could come up with a solution to make it work. Like it could be an other horse that is there.
Yeah.
Then I would have drawn a horse that is there, and I would have drawn another horse that there. So then you got to become creative with how you solve mistakes.
You showed me that a little earlier where you had that body and then you decided to put all the characters in the room that were drawing around it.
Yes.
So you
have to
mingle the music.
This is like a jazz. Like here I started drawing the mother tiger then probably next to it. So I start drawing the body. Like I know the perspective now. It's been established because of the 4 feet of the horse, and you can start relating other figures and characters.
So you see the ground plane,
yes,
in terms of very simple lines.
Yes, I see the horizon line here, and right here. Here, you see, for the stripes, I drew tigers before, so I used my own drawing as a reference for the stripes.
Yeah.
Because to give like a little bit. Plus, these are very forgiving to draw tigers, because if you draw a wrong line, it'll become like a stripe on the body. So it is actually a very forgiving for that reason.
There are certain cues that let you know someone has mastered drawing, and one of them is knowing where to place the feet on a ground plane that they can sense.
Yeah.
And you've always got that going on whenever you go down to the ground plane.
That was always the most difficult part. It's easy to draw a scene, but then to start placing people into it and relating them to the perspective as they move back and that their feet are firmly planted on the ground. If someone can do that, it always impressed me. So I'm trying to impress myself by doing this.
Okay, I've got a risky question for you.
Go ahead.
You've got it in your subconscious now, pretty much. Is that right? When you're seeing the ground plane and seeing where things are, how much of it is conscious?
I see my horizon line mostly, and I sort of see this spherical ball that is the fisheye lens, and I try to like loosely see it in a way.
Now, how much of that was in your training to actually draw out the ball and the ground plane?
I think it comes from animation. Like whenever you're animating a scene, you need to draw the perspective. So when a character walks in the scene and wherever it goes, it moves to the background, and you got to make sure that the perspective fits. So it's something that comes from animation. And here, see, I drew that paw wrong here. Actually, this is interesting. Look, I drew the paw wrong. I don't know if this pig, I know it was a pig, and I didn't like it. So I am going to cover it up. I'm going to give this pig like a headband that is black, because I didn't like the paw of a tiger.
Yeah.
I don't think the pig is on the entirely.
Okay.
So, but you're going to see like this paw from that tiger, I didn't like it. And what I'm doing right now is I'm making a black shape. See that?
It's a scarf around the pig?
It's a scarf around the pig, but it covers up the bad paw that I drew of the tiger. So when in doubt, if you drew something bad, draw a black shape over it, and nobody will know. It's like here there's a character as well with armor.
These are the secrets of covering one's...
Yeah.
Back to the animation thing. When you were doing the grids, layouts, knowing where things go, these were actually drawn out?
Yes. I always had to. My teacher would else flock me. if you're not animating with your perspective grids, then you're just guessing. And one of my teachers told me, you have that animation line in your drawings. He said, never lose that. Like something you should always hold on. It's a little bit more animated. Because I prefer a drawing that has a good gesture to it than a drawing that has right anatomy to it. Because he told me a drawing is realistic not because of detail, but because it has the will to move, that it feels real. And I was like, wow. He said to me, a Disney animation drawing or just an animation drawing feels more alive to me than a hyper-realistic one because the animation drawing feels like it's alive. While the real one is kind of stiff and you're just copying details, but an animation drawing feels like it has the will to move. And I thought that was very powerful of him. So since then I was like, okay, forget about realism. I wanted to feel real, not be realistic.
Do you know Walt Stanchfield's notes? That
Yes, it's really good books, Drawn to Life or something.
Yeah, there's 2 volumes of it. Yeah, he was big on that, getting inside the head. And also, it was misinterpreted, as Kimon Nicolaides has been. That was his main thing about gesture, because he contradicted himself all over, but it was mainly, what's it like to be inside this? What's it like to be this drapery or this water or this cloud or this model? And that included emotion as well as physical sensation. So that's what I'm getting from what you're saying here, is that a gesture is not just the position it's in, it's what brought it to that position, what it's going to do in a moment.
What was the pose before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, a lot of people don't think about that. When they draw a person running, a lot of times in someone's work, I would see the left leg forward and the left arm forward. And that's not how you run, because it's the other way. And those are things that when you study animation or movement, you will have to learn run cycles or walk cycles. And that's why I always think that animation is the best education you can have, because you have to learn to tell stories with very simple tools. I always keep repeating that when anyone asks me, I want to study art, what should I study? Animation. Because you can still paint after your animation. It's just 4 years of your life, but you touch upon every aspect of production, like storyboarding, character design, background painting, animation, sound design, storytelling, script writing, music. So you get to touch everything. And then at the end of your education, you can say, which one of all of these did I like the most? And then you can continue in that. But you're super hireable because you have now a short film to show recruiters. I did this all by myself. I think here I'm doing like a book signing or something.
That makes so much sense, Rembert. Do you care for Richard Williams' course?
Oh yeah, I think it's really good.
Yeah. I love Richard Williams' course.
I think, yeah, that's the illusion. No, it's not the illusion.
No, it's the
animated
survival kit and the animated version where you get to see all of them move. And I have a class called Sketching for Animators and Illustrators, where it is 1 semester on how simply can you go with what the character's doing, how simple you go with the forms, and this business of before and after. The thing you said about the left and right, hands, arms versus the legs, is one of the things. Why do we do that? Because we're in the skin and we don't want to fall over.
Yeah.
We don't want to be imbalanced. We want to move forward. Why does a person throw their foot out when they run so that they don't fall on their face? All of that came from inside us as children without any conscious thought about it. So to get back through conscious thought to that empathizing. So when you are working on this, that is going on in both your subconscious and conscious mind. How much of this is, I know I'm repeating the same kind of questions, but
No, it's good.
students are looking at this and there is such a gap between a beginner or even an advanced student, between what they can do and what you can do. That's why I'm prompting to say how much of this was earned and how much of it is something you're getting in the moment of inspiration.
You mean like how much I see this in front of me?
You've confessed that a lot of this is stuff that you spent years developing, and then also a good chunk of it is stuff that you don't even know what's going to happen next.
Yes.
So you're in the moment. So you've got this yin yang of what I already know and what I don't know yet, and that seems like a dynamic where you're bouncing back and forth between here's what I know I'm going to do, here's what I don't know. So I guess what I'm fishing for is that if I were 11 years old or 18 or 35 and I was nowhere close to this level, that I'd want something that would remind me that part of what you're doing is a mystery, part of it isn't.
I think the main thing, what I'm getting, you're asking is how do you keep up the passion for it so you can get better, or
Oh, yeah, that's part of it, because the part of it that if you knew exactly what this was and you had to copy all decisions,
it would be boring as well. in a way.
I thought you were going to say that. Remember, it is such a trip. See, from nothing, that you go into this full-on scene that has characters in it and such impressive drawing. I wish I had been around you when I was trying to learn to draw in my late teens and early 20s.
As a kid, when I saw, when they introduced me, of course, to, I think in 2011, like Kim Young-ji wasn't that famous yet in 2011, and some kid in my school that was always on the internet and hip to new stuff, upcoming artists, showed me Kim Young-ji in 2011. It's like 15 years ago. And I must have been 19 at the time or something, 18, 19. And I saw him having so much fun with his drawing. And I've never seen someone have so much fun with the perspective and all these characters. And it's like, why can't he have so much fun? I want to be able to do that. And since then, I've always tried to like study perspective, because I saw immediately the perspective. And to me, that was just, okay, I got to study perspective. Which brings us to the perspective courses that we both are doing. Actually, this is a nice segue into your course, because I studied, not many people knew this, architecture for 2.5 years in school.
Did you? So
yeah.
you had to use rulers and straight edges.
Yes, on these old architecture panels.
For how long?
2.5 years. I had 4 hours a week of architecture classes from Mrs. Joris. If she ever watches this, thank you. But she allowed me to draw spaceships. I wasn't drawing houses, I was drawing spaceships, as long as the perspective, but it were blocky spaceships. They weren't curved, like, because then I had to measure a lot. She didn't teach us that yet, but I had to do these blocky spaceships. And she just wanted us to learn perspective and how to measure things and with certain proportions of houses. So for her, she allowed me, and I'm grateful to that, because she saw that I was excited about drawing spaceships more than normal houses. So she just said, okay, you can draw spaceships, but the perspective has to be correct. I was drawing with rulers. Maybe that is something I should have told way at the start. Yes, I did study rigorous perspective with an architect teacher who didn't know 3D software, and she came from the old school where you really had to draw it. And I think that's where your course comes in, like really like drawing, like learning perspective the proper way with rulers and everything. There was no fisheye for that architecture stuff, but I did know everything about foreshortening stuff and if you have curves in a building, how to transpose that in perspective and stuff. Oh yeah, I wanted to draw another horse here, but I was tired of drawing a horse, so I made it.
You got a human body, put a little tutu on it.
And then give him a sort of a hood. Because I wanted to draw a neck on it, so I drew that line, but it doesn't count anymore, so I made it into a hood. So it's like a creative decision. And I made it into a bodybuilder, because I think horses are, if a horse would be a human, they would be pretty muscled.
Yeah.
But you see that I'm much faster than at the start, because now I have confidence in the drawing.
Yeah.
Because I have this, and now I want it to go there.
And even the curve, the arc of this guy like that seems like it's part of what's going on in your impulses. Is it? I mean, is the arc of a body something you
This is a
take
gesture.
into account in the whole composition?
Yeah, it's a gesture. To me, the gesture is always first. So I see the gesture lines and I see the leg like going in.
Yeah.
If the gesture doesn't work, then I just won't continue the drawing probably, or I try to find a solution. And he's going to pull a card.
Ah, yeah. Since his arms are in a state of tension,
Yeah.
he's holding up something heavy.
I knew he was going to pull something before I started. So
Okay.
that I was anticipating.
Left leg is reaching out. Are you going to put a shadow under that foot?
Probably when I
Because
start.
it's above the ground.
Yeah, when I drew when I'm going to draw the ground plane.
And so you can see where the shadow would go.
Yes, I think so. Somebody asked me a question, and somebody gave me a card. Ryan Swartz.
Yeah, we can
Call them out.
do this reverse engineering of who's asking you what by how your gestures and your uncomfortableness of the fidgeting of the hand means that's.
Oh, you saw it like really quickly, because
I don't want. Just don't ask.
That's true. I was probably, when people talk to me and I'm in the middle of a drawing, just like, yeah, okay, thank you so much. Okay. Maybe you're going to see me fidget with my hands again. That's funny that you observed that in that brief split second where I'm just like,
Well, it's all that studying of animation and movies and body language, and there you were referring to specific things. Did somebody ask you about what you were doing there, or was this stuff you were volunteering?
what do you mean?
I mean, when you were pointing specifically, where it looked like you were pointing to occlusion shadows.
Oh, it could be somebody asking
angles.
me. See, I'm reinforcing the contour line.
Do you talk about occlusion shadows in your course?
I think so, yes. Occasionally, here's a wheel.
And boy, that's a foreshortened wheel. That is an ellipse. It's on its proper axis and extremely foreshortened, and you know how the curves go, and you even know how to put the shadows in the area. Oh my goodness.
I smudge it so that it becomes a shape more, and it's more forgiving for mistakes. So this cart.
This is moving from the sportscasting where you're describing what you are seeing to the sportscasting where you're in awe of the athlete and saying, look at that curve, look at that curve.
But you see, I'm drawing much faster than at the start, also because I'm impatient and I want to finish the drawing. As you can see me fidgeting, okay, here's some characters that are in the carriage.
And there's a part of me that wants to know exactly which moment did you decide, what was it that you responded to that said, I want a character in the cart so that I can say, now I've quantified it and I understand exactly how Rembert works. But it's just all fluid. You go in a zone, don't you?
I do. Like every time Christian observed this as well, when I finish a drawing, I'm kind of standing there quietly, like, and I tell Christian, give me a moment. I need to come back to earth.
You've been in an altered state of consciousness, essentially. You keep getting pulled out. And then,
it's like you're dreaming almost, yeah.
It is. You're dreaming while you're awake, and you've got the skill to pull it off. Hey, here's something related to dreams.
Mm-hmm.
When we are, in a sense, drawing and animating with incredible skill,
mm-hmm.
and we didn't learn how to do it, but our system kicks all this stuff up and makes everything foreshorten correctly, where we get vivid memories of it. So in a way, what you're doing here is a few years, maybe a decade, of working on getting the dreaming mind out into the waking world.
Right.
Of seeing the images, knowing the forms, knowing the anatomy, what it all looks like. But it's a slow motion process.
Yeah. I think we can always do that since we're children. Like I had a funny conversation with a daughter of a friend of mine. She's like 7 or 8. She asked me, what do you do for a living? What do you do? And I said, I teach adults how to draw. And she was like, people forget them? And I was just like, wow. Because her drawings, she's translating it. She's not afraid of embarrassing herself with poor technique or anything, because it's just so pure, you're translating it.
I noticed even on...
That's a little horse on her head. I don't know why I did that.
Well, you did it. I even noticed just the kind of kick, the angle of this and the angle of that. There's a sense that it's rickety or that it's bouncing back and forth.
I drew a lady next to the guy.
You sure did.
There's a little lizard between them.
Little storytelling that goes on a subconscious mind, very Freudian.
A lizard?
Well, who knows?
Yeah, you were Freudian.
Yeah, the serpent that comes between the man and the woman in the garden.
Oh, look, here in the back, there's, I like this one, I remember. It's another anthropomorphic figure. And I think I made him a dog. But you see, the main difference now is, at the start, I was fidgeting. Now, no shading, nothing, just pure line characters. I got more confident.
Yeah.
I got way more confident towards the end. And this is how I would prefer to draw. Because all this shading and fidgeting and hatching, it doesn't need to be there. Like, look how clean this one is now. I was very happy with how these last drawings came out, because that's what I said at the start, I'm more fidgeting with something. And then as the more I progress, the more freer I become. It's like if you're playing a gig and your last song, sort of just flow out of you. And the first song that you open with, sort of like, I don't know the audience, I don't know how they're going to react. Am I having a good evening? How am I feeling? And it's like, I think it's with this sort of drawing style is the same. Your first one is always like, oh, gotta test the waters a little bit. But now as I go on, like, look, this soldier that I drew here, like start with the hands. He has a gun, a pistol in his hand, but look, no shading. I just draw everything. I see the mannequin, draw the armor on him, give him a hairstyle.
You are either overcoming the chattering monkey mind in this last part of this, or you're dialoguing with the chattering monkey. Is it okay to ask you how old you are?
34, yeah.
Okay, so you're 34. Let's say that for the next 10 years, you're going to be continuing to get better. How would you describe what's going to be different 10 years from now?
Less, hopefully look more like myself, because the shadow of Kim Jong-gi is over this.
The shadow of Kim Jong-gi.
Yeah, and I sold all my books at some point from him, because I was too strong of an art parent, and I had to shed him. And no matter what I do, he creeps in, and it's too strong, and I don't dare to look at his work anymore for the last several years, because it has such a... I think I was explaining how I think about a mannequin here.
Yeah.
To someone that came by. It's like the simple shapes, and that you can just draw them in one another.
Well, that's a great, valuable little lesson right there. So the adolescence of having to differentiate from a parent who's too much, but yet you're grateful to that parent for what they gave. Kim Jong-gi gave a whole generation permission and an example of what you can do.
Yeah, this is possible. It was more like, did you know that you can do this, sort of? And it's like, what? I didn't know that. I want to draw like that. But it's so overpowering. It is like Jimi Hendrix comes on the scene and suddenly says, you can do this with a guitar. And then everybody sounds like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Even Clapton.
And your new touchstones are Bernie Fuchs and Bart Forbes and Albert Dorn, or
yeah, like those, like Muka by Ivanic. I'm working on a huge piece that I showed you with all the knights, 200s. That I want it more to look like a Slav epic. That is more of a drawing style that I would like to adapt, because I love cartoony. I studied animation, and I will always try to have that cartoony touch in my drawing. But I would like it to be more realistic. I don't like drawing. I can draw, but I prefer to draw humans and the beauty of, and the in-beauty of humans, and realism a little bit more. And
do the students taking your course know about the Slav epic, and do you mention it in the course?
No, I don't.
If you don't know about Alphonse Muka's Slav epic, they are marvelous, and don't miss them. They're for great big epic images of historical events, and also just such taste and style and beautiful lights and darks and understates. Just everything happens in those.
Yeah, at some point when that one is finished, I'd love, if you want to do this again, sit down with you, because I have a stack. There's like 200 figures in that painting, and every one of them I drew on paper in ball pen, and I scanned them in and I composed them together on the big canvas with studies of ribbons, studies of just hands, of flags, how they move in the wind. And I've been working on it on and off for 2 years almost. So this piece does not have a deadline. And a lot of people know me for these sketches, and I'm sort of tired myself of being known as this sketch guy. And this piece that I'm making, I want to break that spell, that I can point to that and say, I am not a sketch guy. I worked 2 years on this piece, and this is my Slav epic where I represent a historical event that happened in Belgium. So I'm also doing it for my country in a way to evangelize an historical moment when we broke free from the French oppression. And I put a lot of thought into the figures and the historical costumes of it. So
that's where you are working in stages.
Yes. Oh, many stages, many stages. I would never do this for that. This is a party trick. This is jazz.
This is jazz improv in a nightclub where you're composing for an orchestra.
Yes, the other one is an orchestra where I compose every little detail for every instrument, and researched historical events and flags there's 100 flags in the sky, and I researched every, I had to go to older books for my grandmother and libraries in Belgium, because there were guilds involved in that war, and I wanted to make sure that I got them accurately. So this is not, here I can put whatever I want random in it. So when it's finished, I'd love to, hopefully it's finished this year. So you see here, there were cats here everywhere, and I thought maybe one of them fell off and is like saying something like, wait, I fell off. And maybe the mom is now turning. I should have turned her more.
Turning to the kid, saying, all right, you can play the role of caboose.
And here's another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cats, baby cats. So here you see me go in detail now, but look at what the difference is. Here I started detailing before I added something else. Here I did the entire thing, and now I start detailing within the, also my ink brush was running out of ink, so I had to go over it a little bit. You can see that I have to work way harder to get lines out of it because the ink was drying up. And I didn't have another sepia ink brush, so I was trying to get the most out of it. Here's another cat. I love drawing animals. I think there's such a fun contrast to put next to humans. Yeah. And plus, animals are a little bit more forgiving because if you make a mistake on an animal, humans accept it more. But if you make a mistake on a human, you're going to see it much quicker. Yeah. Oh, here I start putting in the perspective.
You put down a ground plane.
And now suddenly...
So instead of doing it first, you're doing it later.
But I saw them in my head from the start. But I wanted to draw the figures first, so now I have overlap. And look, suddenly, by adding those blocks, suddenly the whole image makes sense.
It does.
Like, see, and now I'm turning. This is the fish I hear, the cats. And basically the image is now finished. What you're going to see me do from now on is just detailing the stones a little bit. Yeah. That they're, you see, it's...
And creating a subtle radial pattern that holds it together compositionally too. It's just nice.
It ties it all together.
It does. Oh, remember, you mentioned that if we do this again, I would do this as often as you want to do it until your audience gets bored, and then we need to start having arguments and throwing things while we work or singing songs or something else to add to it. But I love watching you work. I aspire to this someday before I'm too old. In fact, I feel like when I'm done with my perspective course, which will be about mid-2027.
Tell a little bit more about your second part.
I've been teaching perspective for
40 years?
Yeah, for about 40 years. Not quite. Yeah, about 38 years.
That's
so
impressive.
Since before you were born, and because I didn't know perspective and I wanted to learn, I got a chance to teach it in the college, and they paid me a little money so that every week I could study it and be ahead of the class. But it ended up becoming the students got good at it, and I needed it. I was using it for my commercial work, and I was happy with that course that I taught in 1994 at Fullerton College that we recorded, and it's now available for like $12.
Oh wow!
And that's been a course that's made. Are you familiar with it?
I am not, but I saw lectures of you on YouTube that people can watch for free.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware that those exist on YouTube for free.
Oh yeah. Well, we've got quite a bit on YouTube for free. But when Stan and I in 2013 were talking about what I would do for Proco, is the perspective course became the thing. So here we are 13 years later, and it'll be done in 14 and a half years after we did that. I feel like this is the course that if I die right after it's over, I will have at least done the perspective course so that the 11-year-old will understand everything they need to know about perspective in a year and a half.
That's
and
amazing.
I do take them through the first part of it is a lot of is understanding with some exercises. The second part of it is putting it to use with exercises, but still some understanding. And your course, you do not have them use rulers in your course.
No, this is all about more freehand perspective.
Absolutely.
But like I said, I had architectural training.
You had architectural
a little bit before that.
So kind of what I'm doing in my course is with an emphasis on something that's like the architectural training, but with constant reminders that some point in your development as an artist, you will abandon those to be like Rembrandt as your art parent, so that you will then rebel against us both and do expressionism. But you will have a skill. You know, it's been pointed out more than once. Robert Beverly Hale pointed out, and Robert McKee pointed out about storytellers, that the people who innovate so often are people that understood the foundation on which they were going to innovate, and then once they learn the craft, the traditional craft, then they say, I want to do something neat. And they've got a foundation from which they can jump with good, interesting, solid jumps. So I'm big on getting your technical skills out of the way in the first few years as much as possible, but not neglecting. In my course, you do not just use rulers. And I think I gave the best explanations of how plan projections work. I didn't do it alone. I did it with help from people here at Proco Studio. The best explanations for it that any 11-year-old is going to understand why architects did those top, side, front views, all that stuff, why they make little lines through the window. But then, regular reminders. This is so that you're grounding yourself in the understanding of it, and you will let it go and do whatever you like. So my feeling is that our two courses serve as a yin-yang.
Yes. I don't think one is a substitute for the other at all. It is not. I think your course is it's like, this is the meat, the proteins. It's like the essentials. And mine is more, in a sense, also like, okay, here is, if you know where the horizon line lies, and I'm gonna play jazz, if that makes sense. Like you said it in a way.
I feel like my course has been a prophecy for what your course is going to offer. And that, in fact, I feel strongly enough about it to say that one of the things I'd like to do is, when I'm done with this course, go through your course and actually do the work and see if I can use you as an art parent for not for your style, but for your freedom and fearlessness. And you've confessed that you do have some anxiety at the beginning. You do have some avoidance, so I'm not going to go for the details. But nevertheless, to sit down and in a matter of a couple hours or an hour to do a full-on developed drawing like this without needing to pull out instruments is just thrilling.
I mean, I'm not saying, like I always repeat this drummer who said it was probably wrong, but it felt great to me. And I was like, that is a motto to live by, because art is not about being correct. It's about, does it feel good? I know that's where abstract art probably lives.